Come to step number 3.7. Let's suppose we want to plot the scatter plot between actual and predicted. So class, I am considering last column as my my predicted column and second column as a actual column. So what I did here, I am using a matplotlib library, and I am just selecting the last column, -1 as the last column as a predicted, and second last column as actual. So whenever I am executing this code, scatter plot is plot, and that automatically saved to a file with the name scatterplot.jpg. So if you want to access this file in a Google Colab, just explore how exactly we need to download this save file from my Google Colab. But if you run the same code in your local machine using Jupyter or Anaconda, then this file will be created in a directory. Okay. Now you can use this file for your presentation, report, and research papers. Next, if you want to save this particular result in any CSV file, so this is a very simple way. Just new predictions dot to CSV, and this is the file name. It automatically saves this file, the complete table to a file. Then you can also use that table to your to your report, or any you can save that result. So class, this is all about the basic idea about how exactly we need to build an individual model, how to make the predictions, and how exactly we need to save the result, how exactly we need to save the model, how to load it, and how to apply for the new data set. Okay. Now next, there are different plots available with the PyCaret. Okay. So we are going to cover each and every one. Like very first, in the step number 3.9.1, we are going to build a model. Again, let's suppose build another model. So we are building random forest. It will be run for 10 folds. Now model building is done. Now random forest model is built. Now we want to plot the error plot. What is the error? So there is a function with the name plot underscore model. This is my train model, and this is my plot. So plot is the error. So we need to just set the parameter. So there are several parameters, like error plot ke liye error parameter is there. If you want to plot learning curve, learning parameter is there. For validation curve, VC is there. If you want to know feature importance, that is the most important part. So feature is there. And if you want to know the hyperparameters, then parameter is there. Okay. So now let me run the error part. So this is all about the my error plot. So that is also one of the scatter plot, and these black dotted line considered as a regression line. Next, come to step number 3.9.3, learning curve. Let's suppose you want to plot how exactly my learning is happening in the model as the training instances increases. Okay, so class, what I did here, plot equal to learning, plot model, this is a function call, this is my train model, and this is my parameter. So this is all about my learning instances. So in the bottom, in the x-axis, you will find the number of instances, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. As the input increases, my learning score is also increasing. So right now I am not executing this code because it is taking some time. Kindly mute yourself. There are a lot of noise in the background.
Okay, right.
Mr. Gupta, please.
Wait for a few minutes again.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's suppose we want to plot a validation curve. So we need to pass VC, plot equal to VC. So this is your validation curve. So class, these all are the parameters that is important when you are dealing with the machine learning. So reviewer or external want to know how exactly your model is performing, how exactly your model is learning, what is the effect of the cross validation when model number of iteration increases, when the number of training data increases. So you can use all these charts in your presentation. So there are several models available with the plot model. So just I am moving to the regression manual and pasting plot model. So this is a long list of models like residual plot, error plot, Cook's, recursive feature selection, learning, validation. So I covered most of the parameters that are important, but you can try other parameter also. Now come back 3.10 class. This is the most important thing, feature importance. So feature importance, I already mentioned ki, let's suppose there are 100 features are there. How exactly we should know ki which is the most important and which is the least important features. So that is generally known as feature selection. On the basis of this sorting criteria of my features, I can choose top 10%, top 20%, top 30%. Okay. So first, how we visualize which is the most important features. So class, first I'm creating any model. Let's suppose we want to know about feature importance using random forest. So first I created a random forest model. After that, I'm going to plot. So in the plot, there is a parameter known as feature. So as I execute, right now already result is already there. So I'm not executing this code. So as I plot, as I pass the parameters feature, you will see my I state, RM are considered as the top two features. And similarly, it will arrange all the features according to their importance. Okay. So class, this is the most important thing because several times the researcher, reviewer, or teacher or faculty or student may ask, sir, how exactly we need to determine which is the most important features. Okay. Let's suppose let's suppose you are working in cancer treatment and you want to know which is the most critical parameter we should focus on. So this is the way we can visualize our complete set of features in according to their importance. Okay. Now, next, we want to, there are several parameters are there, several models are there, like ET is there. So extra T regressor. So if I am going to plot a model through, we are plotting the features according to my ET model, extra T regressor, there might be possibility it may show different features like feature importance. Okay, so this is all about the model feature importance using extra T regressor. Now come to 3.10.3 decision tree, and you will find my feature importance is changed. My L state is come to second part, second in the second position, and my RM become the first part. So class, this is the way my feature importance is changes according to the model. Now you may ask the next question, how to exactly know which model, which method should we consider. So class, first compare the model, and that you need to select only those models that give you the maximum R square value or any other best parameter. Then build the model and find out the features. That is the exact way, that is the best way to find out feature importance. So class, if you have any question, query, you may ask in the chat also. Okay. So this is all about.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Okay.
I want to ask, first of all, why we are not using sklearn, like what is the importance of PyCaret over sklearn? This is the one question which I want to ask. And the other question is that how this feature importance is being calculated. Are we applying filter method, wrapper method, or any embedded method over here? What is the logic behind to calculate the feature importance here? So request to you answer, please.
I think, ma'am, you joined late. I already explained you in the backend, they uses all the library of sklearns only. Okay. But let's suppose you want to build an individual model. Okay. Then you need to import that. Let's suppose you want to create a random forest. Then you need to import it You need to call a function, you need to divide your data set, you need to apply different feature selection, pass the data set, and then evaluate. So in the back end, they uses the sklearn library. Okay. And but the important thing is that we need to run only three line of code. I already explained in the previous session what are the 3 lines. Okay. Now you're talking about feature importance. So there are very they say, like, you will find key if I am creating a different model, so my feature importance is changed accordingly. Okay, because you will, if you find here my decision tree model will give the different feature selection. Here I am using ET model, it is giving different feature selection method. And again, I'm finding here it may using different feature selection method. Now in the backend, there wrapper method is there. There is another multiple models are there, like recursive feature selection method is there. Okay, so I'm not sure about which particular feature selection method it is using, but most important thing is that wrapper method is there. In the wrapper method, we need to select any random features. Okay, and we need to find out if it is giving me the maximum accuracy or minimum error. Then again, we need to select the different methods, and if that particular set of features will give me the maximum accuracy, now that particular set of features will become my feature importance. So there are 2 ways through which features are selected. Number 1, some feature selection technique give you a score, like here it is a score. So on this that basis, we need to select the cutoff. Okay, some feature selection already selected that cutoff, and let's suppose out of 10 or out of 20 they will give you these are only 5 features, important features are there. Some give you the complete score of all the features. Then we need to decide how to exactly we need to choose that particular feature selection method. But if you want to apply your own feature selection technique, then you should apply in the first part. Okay, means data should be that consider only select only those features that you consider as a good one. After applying 3 line of code, load your data, compare the model, and get the results.
Na bathroom livne.
Oh, madam, kindly mute yourself. Done. So class, this is all about the feature selection. Now next important thing is how exactly we need to deploy the model. So I am not covering that part in using AWS. So I am just give you a brief idea. So this is a link here. If you want to deploy your model in AWS service, so very brief and very good manual is there. Okay, let's suppose how exactly you need to deploy the model on AWS. Okay, so this is a small function is there. Deploy model, your model name, deploy LR model, and platform AWS. So it required two things. Number 1, authentication key. So just pass, and it is automatically created a web service for you. So in that particular web service, you need to provide the input parameters only, and just press submit a button. And in the backend, all the input will go to the model, and model will able to make the predictions and give you the result. Okay, because developing a model is okay, but the next important thing, we miss all the things to deploy the model. Let's make your model available to the others and try to find out what are the how exactly your model is performing. Okay, so let's make the available model so to other researchers, so they can use your research, and that will be considered as the outcome of your research. Okay. So class, this is all about the first part, regression. So class, till now, if you have any question, query, you may ask, please. Or shall I move forward? Okay. No issues. And come back to the GitHub repository again. So now, if you don't know how exactly we need to move forward, then there is a small instruction I am passing in the chat. Just go to Google and search for PS Rana GitHub. Okay, and this window will appear. PS Rana GitHub. Click on the very first link. After that, machine learning using PyCaret. And next, so this is the notebook that is available for this practical session. So I already covered the regression part. Next is classification. And after that, I'm going to cover the clustering part. Okay. So these are the two notebooks that I'm going to cover in this session. And after lunch, there is one important session, how exactly we should generate the data set using modeling and simulations. Okay. So now just click on this with this classification notebook. And so this is the complete practice session that we are going to cover in this session. So just click open in Colab. Just click on open in Colab. So now we are going to cover PyCaret for classification. So before moving forward, let me explain what classification is. So class, if my target column contain discrete values, so that data set is considered for regression classification. And if the value is only 2, means either 1 or 0, then considered as a binary classification. And if more than 2, that will be considered as a multi-class classification. Okay. So this is all about the classification part. Let's move forward. So class, 95% things are same as we covered in the regression part. So 95% are same. But before moving forward, let me rerun the complete notebook in a single go. So class, just go to runtime. Just go to runtime and click on run all. Now again, it may ask for this notebook was not authorized by Google because it is now located in my location, and now just click on run away. So what exactly it did, it copied the notebook from my location, my Google Colab directory to your Google Drive, automatically come to a Google Drive. So now just click runtime and run all. So very first step is again importing installing the PyCaret package. We already covered in the regression part. So class, this is the parameter that I am passing. The output should not be display on the screen. It is just redirect to the null directory, null folder, null file. Okay. And after installing the PyCaret package, it will just show you the package is successfully installed. Okay. And to install PyCaret or any other package, pip utility is there. Pip install PyCaret. Now it is installed successfully. Okay. Now just explore the things because it is already executed. So first installing the PyCaret. Next is getting the version. So I'm getting the version of 2.3.1. So basics is similar to 95%. Code is similar to regression part. I'm importing the data set. Okay. So to import the data set in the PyCaret, I'm using get data. So there now if I want to list all the data set that is available with the PyCaret, so I'm just passing index to the get function. And this is all about the data set that is available with the PyCaret. Now come to step number 1.3. So right now we are working with the diabetes data set. It is available at sequence number 7. So let's explore sequence number 7. So this is the diabetes data set. It is a multivariate binary classification problem is there, and the target column is known as class variable. 786 is my number of rows, and 9 instances are there. 9 attributes means 9 columns are there. So now move forward. So very first step is to get the data. So this time we are working with the diabetes data set. So we are using get data underscore diabetes. Okay. Now it extract the data from the diabetes data set from the PyCaret package and assign to the variable to the data frame diabetes data set. So as I execute, you will get a glimpse of a data set. So it contains number of parameter, and last column, class variable. That is my target column. And you will clearly see its value is either 1 or 0. So two variables are there. So that is a data set of binary classification. Okay. Now move forward. If you want to read your own data file, similarly use pandas to read your own file. Step number 1.4, again the same thing. We need to set up the variables. So there is a function with the name setup and the diabetes data set and class variable. So this time my target is class variable. So we assign target as class variable. So these are the two important things that we need to set the parameters. After that I run. So it shows all the parameters that is available that we are going to set in this setup function. So as one of the faculty member is asking how it is different from scikit-learn. So they merge all the features into a function call. And let's suppose you want to apply any pre-processing part, just set the parameter. So right now model building is become a very, very simple. Now come to 1.5 step. This 1.5, this is the step number 2. We need step number 3, compare model. So there is a function with the name compare model. Now one more important thing, as we are setting the parameter, this time we are importing PyCaret.classification. So in the backend, it import all the scikit-learn library functions, okay, and that are available in this environment. Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself. Thank you. So as I run 1.5 compare models, it automatically compare 15-16 models. How many models are there? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 models are there. And as you know, my data is binary classification. You will find precision, recall, sensitivity, specificity, accuracy, kappa, F1. So these all are the evaluation parameters. Okay. So now it arrange all the models according to the higher accuracy. So I am getting my AdaBoost perform, giving me the accuracy of 75%. Okay. Right now I am not using any pre-processing technique, any pre-processing in the data set, and I am getting the accuracy of 75%. Okay. So this is all about the comparison of different models on my binary data set. Now come to 3.6. This is just a 3-line of code I am applying for the cancer data set. So first I am importing the data set cancer, and its target class is class. So as I run, this time I am getting 97% accuracy with the model SVM. So my both random forest and SVM giving me the highest accuracy. Okay. So this is a 3-line of code you need to run to compare multiple models in just single go on your data set. Now come to next 1.7. So there is a data set with the name heart disease, in which there is a target column disease is there, and that is just a binary classification problem ki heart disease hai ya nahi hai. Okay. So I am just importing the data set heart_disease. I am setting the parameter, run the models, and you will find this time my logistic regression give me the highest accuracy of 83% accuracy. So this is all about the pre-processing, just running the all PyCaret in just 3-line of code. Now let me introduce some pre-processing part. So similarly, again the same thing that we apply in the regression, how exactly we need to apply normalization. So normalization equal to true, and normalization method equal to z-score. And after applying the after applying on the diabetes data set, my accuracies come with 77%. Earlier, without applying any pre-processing, we are getting the accuracy of 75%. So there is an increment of 2% accuracy in the performance. Kindly mute yourself. Okay, perfect. Now this is all about the normalization part. Come to 2.2 part, feature selection. Again, the same thing as we apply in the feature selection for the regression. So this time, no improvement. We are still getting 78% accuracy. Come to 2.3, outlier removal. Now this time you will find my accuracy is somewhat increased. So it reached to 77%. But this time my model is changed. It's become extra tree classifier. So now how exactly? Outlier removal equal to true and outlier threshold is 0.5. 0.05 means 5% outlier removal is there. Now come to 2.4 transformation. The same thing. Transformation equal to true. And which transformation method I am applying is Yeo-Johnson. So it's apply automatically Yeo-Johnson method in the transformation, and you will see my accuracies come to 75 model, but this time my LDA model is outperformed. So class, this is just become a change of the parameter. Okay, but now most important thing is that you may ask the question: is there is any way to get the exact number of pre-processing, which pre-processing should we apply so that I am getting the higher accuracy? So there is no method available with this, but if we want to know how exactly we need to find out which pre-processing technique should apply and in which order so that model give me the best accuracy, then you need to perform apply some optimization technique. Like one of the optimization technique is genetic algorithm. So you can merge the genetic algorithm with this PyCaret package. Okay. Now let me take some question. If you have any question, you may ask in the chat also. Okay, no issues. Now just come to 2.5 model performance using PCA. So I'm applying the PCA and I'm getting the accuracy of 76%, and random forest model this time is outperformed. So class, now next, similar way applying outlier removal with the normalization part, I am getting my accuracies come to 76%. So class, this is all about 99% things all are same with the as we covered in the regression part. Okay, similarly, if we want to apply three pre-processing technique: outlier removal, normalization, transformation. So again, still we are getting the 77% accuracy, but this time my GBC model give highest accuracy. Okay, and this is the beauty of PyCaret. If without getting in the coding part, a new person that is not familiar with the coding, they can also easily just copy paste and run the code, and they can get the result. Devi, on what basis we can analyze the accuracy of the model? Accuracy is basically calculated between actual and predicted value of the testing data set. Okay, because training part, let's suppose we divide our data into two parts, training and testing. So we assigned 70% data to by training part and remaining part to the testing part. Okay, my means 30% data is available as a testing. So I will use these features of the testing part. Model will able to make the predictions, and that prediction value is considered as a predicted value, and the target value of the testing is considered as the actual value. So we have two values. One is considered as a predicted value and one is considered as the actual value. So we need to compare actual and predicted, and on this basis we are calculating all these parameters. Okay. Okay, fine, good. So this is all about the setup function. Okay, let's suppose you want to change another parameter or you want to apply different any other parameter, then you can change, you can usually change the parameter. Now next, come to the next part, classification. Let's build one model. How to build an individual model? The same thing, I am building random forest. So these are the other models that is available with the classification only. because there is a list of models that run for classification only, and that a few lists that run for regression only. Okay, so these are the list of models that is available for classification only. Okay, now you can also explore the create model parameter if you want to tune the performance. Same thing, save the train model, load the train model. We already covered in the regression part. Now this is an important thing. Let's make some prediction using my train model. Okay, so first I consider 10 rows from my diabetic data set. So it is just showing the top five rows of the data set, and last column is my target column. So now these remaining input features I will give to the model, my random forest model. Model will able to give me the outcome that will be considered as a predicted value, and I will compare with the actual value. Actual value means this value. So I will able to calculate these parameters. So this is all about the let's suppose make the predictions. So predict underscore model is a function. It requires two parameter only. One is model that we created in the earlier step, and next what is the data set. So we provide the new data set. So now this is that. Now after running this predict underscore model, you will find there is a last column with the name label. So it automatically come up with the 101010. So this will be considered as a predicted value, and this will be considered as the actual value. Okay, so two columns are there. Now all these parameters we can calculate using these two values, actual and predicted. Now, if you want to save the result, means if you want to save this result to a CSV file or any other file, just I'm using a function to predict dot to CSV. Okay, and the file name. It automatically saves the complete result to a CSV file. Now this is the important part. 3.8. So there are different plottings are there. We need to plot for my binary classification, because in the regression we only perform like scatter plot is there, learning curve is there, and क्या बोलते हैं cross validation curve is there. But in binary classification, some plots are there, like AUC curve, area under the curve is there. We need to find out the error matrix is there. Okay, so how exactly we need to calculate all these parameters in a very simple way. So just I come to 3.8.1. So first I am building random forest model. Done. After that, I want the confusion matrix. So class, what I did here, plot equal to confusion underscore matrix. Okay. I am just passing plot underscore model. This is my train model, and these are the parameter. Confusion matrix is there. So now you will find it will create confusion matrix between true class and predicted class. So it will true class means if my value is 1 and my model is also able to predict it as 1, so that will be considered as a true prediction value, false prediction value. So there are few parameters then we need to calculate, and after that we will able to calculate these values, and on these basis, on these value, we can able to find out the accuracy part. Next, same thing, if we want to plot the learning curve, so plot underscore model is there, and then RF model and plot equal to learning. So now you will find as the number of instances increase, how exactly my training score is improving or not improving. Next, this is the most important thing about learning curve. Class, whenever we are comparing, we are dealing with the binary classification, everyone is asking for area under the curve. This is all about as false positive rate and true positive rates are increases, how exactly my area under the curve is plot. So we need to pass plot as equal to AUC. Next, decision boundary. Decision boundary just give you the glimpse how exactly my true value and false values are distributed. So class, I am just passing plot equal to boundary. So that is all about your boundary. These all plots you can use in your thesis, in your report, in your presentation, in your research paper. Now, again, the same thing, simple importance. I already covered in the regression part. So this time, class, just one minute. Sorry. Thank you. Now again, feature importance in using classification model. So again, we are building a random forest. So the same thing you will find. Now this is the important thing. As we work with the diabetes data set, you will let to know that my glucose plasma concentration in 2 hours is the highest one. So this is the important parameter. Okay. Now, but if you change the model, you will get the different feature importance. Okay. Now, similarly, I want to know about how exactly my feature are calculated using extra tree regressor. So you need to just build a tree, ET tree, just pass ET, and this time again my feature are selected. Similarly, my decision tree will give different results. So class, this is all about the important thing about binary classification part. And if you have any question, query, you may ask in the chat also. Any question, query? No? Okay. So now let's move forward for the last part, that it will be clustering. That will be considered as a clustering. Okay. So just go to my GitHub repository and just click on machine learning using PyCaret, and third one, PyCaret for clustering with results. So just click on this GitHub. Now I want to share one important thing with you. If you just upload your notebook in a GitHub, you will not find this button open in Google Colab. Just this is for your kind information. Whenever you are dealing with the students, try to build your own this type of notebook in Google Colab. And there is a function with the Google Colab, like go to file and save a copy in GitHub. Because I just update all my notebook. I created all my notebook in the Google Colab, and I just select save a copy to GitHub. So whenever you are exporting your notebook from Google Colab to GitHub, this button will appear only. Otherwise, this button will not appear if you directly upload to GitHub. Okay, so that is the beauty of because now you can explain to the participants, just click on this button, open in Google Colab. So this particular notebook automatically will open in the Google Colab. Now move forward. Open in a Google Colab. Now just open the clustering part. So this is the third practical session on clustering. So first, clustering is a unsupervised learning, means target column is not there, means my data is unlabeled data set. So that will be considered as a clustering part. So now 70% things are same as regression and classification, but few things that we need to understand in clustering how exactly we need to find out the number of clusters. Okay, so that is a thing that I'm going to cover. So class, just open the Google Colab. Okay, done. So now, before moving forward, just do one thing. Run the complete notebook so that there is no need to rerun the code again for all the time. Just go to runtime, run all. Again, it is showing warning, run anyway. So class, right now, Google Colab is one wonderful resource for the researchers, for the faculties, for the students, those who are struggling with the resources. But a new facility is also provided by the Google, known as Google Colab Pro. So there is a $10 fees per month. Okay, and they charge $10 per month. So those who are working in image processing, because that required a lot of resources, GPU processing and huge memory. So that will help you a lot if you go for Google Colab Pro. Okay, right now I have purchased all my Google Colab Pro. Now, if you want to try for yourself, you may ask for the credential. I will give to you. So now class, very first step, I am again installing the PyCaret package. Now, one more important thing, key points for you. If you are working with Jupyter means if you are working with your on Anaconda on Jupyter in your local machine, then there is no need to reinstall the package again and again. Okay, so that is the key important points. No need to rerun the code again and again because installing is already done. It is library is automatically installed in your machine. So no need to rerun the code again. But whenever you are working with Google Colab, then you need to run again and again. So let me cover the things somewhat quickly. So class, clustering, as I mentioned, it is a unsupervised learning. Okay. Now the very first and very important and very common algorithm for the clustering is known as k-mean clustering. Okay, it will find the distance between the different data points and make the clusters. Okay, so first I am just loading the data set, get data, index. It will show the complete data set that is available in the PyCaret. Now this time we are working with the Julie data set. Okay, so that is available at the sequence number 30. So sequence number 30 is there. Julie data set. It is a multi-classification, ready for clustering. So in the cluster, you will find in the clustering data set, no one is available as a target column because in unsupervised learning means unlabeled data set. So that's why this is considered as an unsupervised learning. So 505 number of rows are there and 4 columns are there. Okay, so you can try with a different data set also. IPL data set is there, Facebook data set is there, perfume data set is there, migration, Pokemon is there, population. So multiple data set is available for clustering only. Now, so just executing 1.3, I'm just loading the data set into Julie data set. Again, come to 1.4, setting up the parameters. Now, before setting up the parameters, there is a library with the name parameter.clustering. Okay, so this is an important thing, PyCaret.clustering. So if you see when we work with the regression, the PyCaret.regression is there. When we are working with the classification, the PyCaret.classification is there. But right now we are working with the clustering part. So PyCaret.clustering is there. Okay, so now again we just setting up the parameter. This time we need to pass the data set only because target is not available. So we don't set the parameter for the target. Okay, so now before moving forward, let me explain the Julie data set. It contains only 4 columns: name, age, spending, score, and saving. Now we want to cluster all these data sets. Okay, so now this is all about the step number 2, setting up the parameter. Next is come to 1.5. We need to build a k-mean clustering. So class, in clustering, right now PyCaret is not providing any mechanism to compare different clustering algorithms in a single go. like we run in the regression and the clustering the compare underscore model. But in the clustering part, there is no single function is there to compare all the clustering algorithm in a single go. Okay, so we need to compare and run the code for every clustering model individually. So class, there is a function with the name create underscore model. Okay, so we are passing k-mean, and for the k-mean algorithm, we need to initialize the how many number of cluster we want. Okay, so as we run the clustering model, so there is a Slothie score is there. Now class, whenever we are building the clustering, we are building a clustering model, so that return me the some few parameters. So one of the parameters is considered as Slothie score. So as we working with the regression, so there is a score with the name R square. Our objective is to maximize the R square value. Similarly, for the classification, accuracy is there. So we want to maximize the accuracy part. So similarly, we want to maximize the Slothie score. Okay, these are the two other parameters. So you can explore these parameters as per your requirement, but we need to focus on Slothie score. And Slothie score is just the evaluation parameter calculated between different clusters. So my k-mean model is built. Now come to next step, 1.6. There are different clustering algorithms are available like affinity propagation, mean shift clustering, spatial clustering is there, agglomerative clustering. So agglomerative clustering is also known as hierarchical clustering, density based and known as dbScan. This is one of the popular algorithm used in clustering. Similarly, optics clustering is there, Bairick clustering is there, k-mode clustering is there. So class, this becomes very simple to apply different clustering algorithm by just changing this keyword. Okay, let's suppose you want to make affinity, so just pass AP. Mean shift clustering, just pass mean shift. So this is a small change in the parameter, you can get that particular clustering algorithm. Okay, now after building the clustering model, let's assign the cluster to every row. Okay, so for this, there is a function with the name assign underscore model, and we need to pass the train model. So this is the same train model that we created here in step 1.5, k-mean clustering model. So we pass assign underscore model and k-mean clustering model. So this is the variable name that we passed. So when you are executing 1.7, you will find one extra column is attached, and that's defined ki particular data point, particular row assigned to which column, which cluster. So you will find I created 4 clusters. So some is assigned to cluster 0, some is assigned to cluster 2, some is assigned to cluster 3. Similarly, it skip the intermediate columns, intermediate rows, and similarly it's showing all the table and assign number of clusters. So class, this is the ultimate objective, how my data is assigned to different clusters. Okay, now saving the result. So k-mean prediction.csv, this complete table will save to the CSV file. Now this is the thing is for clustering part. Come to 1.9. Let's suppose we want to plot the clusters. So there is a function with the name plot underscore model. It requires 2 parameters. Number 1, my train model. So that is a model that I trained earlier. And next, plot equal to cluster. So as I plot the cluster, you will find a 2D plot of all my clusters. So like suppose light blue for cluster 0, orange for cluster 1, green for cluster 2, and for purple cluster 3. So you will find all the data set that are clustered using k-mean, all are plot in 2-dimension plots. So class, you will find here is PCA1 and PCA2. So as I already explained you, PCA is a technique that reduces the data set in 2 or 3 dimensions only. Okay, because there are 4 dimension means 4 data set is there, 4 columns are there, and that reduces to the 2 dimensions. So here you will not able to clearly recognize these orange points are much more closer to this purple point rather than this cluster. Basically, we cannot represent the thing in the 2 dimensions, but we can visualize the thing in 3 dimensions. So how exactly we need to visualize the thing in 3 dimensions? Come to the next step. Pooja, I already told you evaluation matrix. If you go to step number 1.5, building a model. So when we are building the model, this is the Silothy score. This is the evaluation matrix for clustering algorithm. So our objective is to maximize this Silothy score. So just remember, we are just getting 0.72 Silothy score. Okay, just go to Google and explore how exactly Silothy score is calculated. So this is one of the evaluation parameter for clustering algorithm, similar to sensitivity, specificity, and accuracy for the classification, and R square, root mean square error for the regression part. Okay, now come back to the step number 1.10. How exactly we need to build a 3D plot? Okay, we want to visualize our cluster in 3 dimensions. So class, what exactly I did? Plot model, plot model, then my model name, and plot equal to TSNE. We need to provide this TSNE variable. So now this is a beautiful graph that is placed, that is plotted for the graph. Now you can zoom it. Okay, you can move in different dimensions. So now you can clearly visualize how exactly my data point is plotted. So now you will see here, no orange point is too much close to the purple point, as we shown in my 2D plot. Okay, so exactly this is the way. But these are in actual, these are all the purple points are too much close to each other rather than they are overlapping with the purple. Okay, so this is the way we can visualize all my cluster points in 2 dimensions. So in the 3D. Okay, so how exactly I did this? So plot model, passing your train model, and plot equal to TSNE. So class, all the things I already make you, just you need to just press control enter, try to visualize the things. Okay, for simplicity. Now moving forward, come to 1.11, save the model. Let's suppose you train a cluster model in a file. So how exactly we need to do that? Save underscore model, your model name and your file name. So it automatically save this file, your complete train model in this file. You can share with me, you can mail to any friend, then that model can be shared. Okay, so now the file format is PKL, pickle file is there. So now after saving the file, we want to load the file. So load underscore model is there. So let's suppose you send to me, I download the file. Now this is the way I need to load the file. So my train model will be loaded in k-mean clustering model 1. Okay, now let me make the prediction using that particular model. Okay, so first I am selecting some data from the Julie dataset itself. So just consider this is an unknown dataset. Okay, let's suppose your train clustering model is there, and you want to new data will come, and you want to make now which first data point belong to which cluster. This is important thing, because till now we build the model, it's okay, but how exactly we need to apply for the new data set? This is a typical one. So now what, just consider I am just considering a 10 rows as an unknown data set. So I'm using a function with the name predict underscore model. I'm just passing the data model that will be and what should be the data set. So this is a new data set that I just selected from 10 rows from the Julie itself. So as I call the function, you will find a new column will be attached with the name cluster. So that particular row is belong to cluster 1, cluster 0, cluster 2, cluster 1. Because this is very important. Because in clustering, we never apply clustering model for the new data set. Okay, so this is the way we can apply on the new data set also. So class, if you have any question, query, you may ask in the chat also. No question? Okay. Now again, if we want to save the predictions in a file, so new prediction.csv and file name. So all your this particular result will save to a CSV file. Okay. Next is what are the different plots that we can use in the clustering. So very first is cluster. Come to 2.1. So class, there is a very interesting function is there. Evaluate underscore model. This is a very good function. Okay, we need to just pass my train model. Okay, so it will automatically calculate 6 parameters, 6 evaluation, different evaluations. Means if you just execute, you will get the 2-dimension plot. Okay, now just click on cluster TSNE. It will automatically plot the 3D plot that I just shown to you. It is taking some time. Yes, it is done. So class, this is all about the 3-dimension plot. Next, elbow plot. So class, elbow plot is the most important plot to know what is the optimum number of cluster required for my data set. Class, this is a very important topic. Okay, how exactly we need to find optimum number of cluster. So class, if somebody asks, then you should let them know that we are going to plot an elbow. So elbow plot is nothing but the curve where we are getting the maximum curve, maximum angle is there. So you will find 3 should be the maximum number of cluster. Okay, means on this, if I choose cluster equal to 3, I will get the maximum score. Similarly, next, Slothi score. Just click on Slothi. So that will be give you the different clusters. And as you know, my Slothi score is come to 0.72. So it is taking just the average. Means what it should be the minimum for class 3. So this is a Slothi score. So that's why it is giving me the, when I compare the models, when I build the k-mean clustering model, it show me the Slothi score as 0.72. Where is my evaluate plot? Yes. Next is distance plot. This is my distance plot. So class, as you know, I set the number of cluster as 4. So it created 4 clusters. Means this is cluster value 1. Similarly, cluster 0, cluster 2, cluster 3, and cluster 1. Okay. So how exactly my clusters look like distance? Next, distribution. So distribution will show how many data points are assigned to particular clusters. Let's suppose cluster 1, 72 data points. Similarly, cluster 0, 156. Cluster 2, 147. Cluster 3, 130 points. So these are the 6 evaluation matrices, evaluation graph that you can get with this small function, evaluate underscore model. Okay. Now just come to 2.2. But let's suppose if you want to plot individually, then plot underscore model is there. Just pass cluster, it will plot 2-dimension graph. Plot underscore model, just pass TSNE, it will plot the 3-dimension plot. It is just a 3-dimension, you can move. Similarly, If you want to plot elbow plot, just pass elbow. And if you want slothy plot, so just pass slothy. And similarly, if you want a distribution plot, just pass distribution. And come to 2.7. 2.7 hai. Yes, distance plot. So just pass distance. Okay, so this is the same distance plot as we get it in the evaluation model. Okay, but right now only direction is changed only. Earlier one is here, it will be going in this direction, but right now it is showing in this direction only. This is all about the different evaluation parameters. Now next, there are different clustering algorithms are available. Like I already discussed, k-mean is by default. Affinity, if you want to apply affinity propagation, AP is there, mean shift, spectral clustering is there, multiple clustering algorithms are there. Now, let me try the data set for cluster equal to 3. So class, this is all about the 3 line of code to get the slothy score. So what I did here, I am again using the jewelry data set. I am setting up the parameter. Here I am applying PCA equal to true. And we are building the k-mean model. And for number of cluster 3. So I am getting my slothy score is 0.72. 73. I guess 0.739. Let's consider as a 7.4, 0.74. Okay. So as I can also run for cluster number 4, I am passing cluster as 4 and I am getting slothy as 0.73. So class, we already find whenever I am applying my elbow plot, so optimum number of cluster are 3. So that is cross validated here. Why 3? Because when we are building the clustering model, my slothy score is getting higher. We are getting the highest slothy score. So both the things are justified. When you are finding the elbow plot, it is again showing the 3. But whenever you are try with 3, 4, so we are getting slothy score as the highest one. So this will support the thing that elbow plot is the best way to find out the optimum number of clusters. Kumar, it is a very basic idea about clustering, that if you want the mathematics behind clustering is that because there are different data points and we need to find out the distances. There are several distances available, like suppose Euclidean distance is there, Manhattan distance is there, several other distances are available. So we need to calculate the distance of every point with every point. Okay, and we need to select how many, let's suppose we want to select the 4 clusters. So inter distance should be maximum and inter distance should be maximum, and intra distance should be minimum. Inter distance and means the distance between 2 clusters should be maximum, and the distance within the cluster, within the data point should be minimum. Okay, so if you go to some videos in the YouTube or you can explore the Google, you can easily find what is the very basic mathematics about the clustering algorithms. Okay, but the important thing is that we should know how to apply these clustering algorithms. Now, so this is all about if we change the number of cluster, how my slothy score is increases. Now come to step number 4. What is the role of pre-processing on clustering? So class, this is the same thing that we did with the when we apply the pre-processing with the classification and regression. So step we load the data set for the class Julie data set itself. Now we are applying data normalization. Sorry. And you will find I just run for cluster number 4. So my slothy score reaches to 0.75. Earlier it is giving me 0.72. Okay, so now after applying the normalization, my slothy score is increases. Similarly, transformation. So just set the parameter of transformation. It is giving me 0.76. So this is the highest Lothi score. Similarly, if we want to apply transformation and normalization, I'm getting maximum for clustering k-mean. Again, if we want to apply PCA, my Lothi score is lower down. So this is all about the pre-processing technique you can apply. Okay. Now, next part, let me allow to use how exactly we need to apply the different clustering algorithms. Okay. So let's take example 5.1. I want to apply agglomerative clustering. So agglomerative is nothing but a hierarchical clustering. So what I did here, whenever we are building the create model, just pass hclust, and we are providing number of clusters equal to 3. So you will find I am getting my Lothi score is 0.73. Okay. So class, this is the only parameter where our ultimate objective is to maximize this one. Okay. Now again, we build a model, hierarchical model, and we want to apply for the prediction on the clusters. So same way, assign model, hierarchical clustering, and we apply, and you will find one extra column is added, and that will be assigned with different clusters, 0 cluster, 1 cluster, 2 cluster. Similarly, we want to apply, we want to evaluate. So we pass evaluate model, hierarchical model that we clustering. So you will find all the parameters, 2-dimensional, 3-dimension, elbows, Lothi, distance, and distribution. Okay, I'm just skipping this part. Now next algorithm is density based DB-scan. So class, DB-scan don't require any number of parameter, number of clusters. It automatically identify the number of clusters. Okay, so if you pass the number of cluster, it will give error, because DB-scan don't require any number of cluster initially. On the basis of density, it will find out the number of clusters. Now, as I am creating DB-scan, you will find my Lothi score and other parameter are 0. Okay, so just keep in mind, if any algorithm is going give you the score as 0, means that particular algorithm will not work for this data set. Means DB-scan will not able to cluster this data set. Okay, now let's use this data set for the assigning. So I'm using assign underscore DBS model that I created earlier, and you will find it label all the data point as cluster -1, -1, -1, -1. Means it will not able to make the clusters. Okay, so means data may be noisy or any other issue that DB-scan is not able to handle. So means my DB-scan will not work for this data set. Okay, so this is all about the things. So you can also try different algorithm, like optics is there, DB-scan is there, multiple things are there. So class, then last part, if you want to deploy, just go to and explore. You can easily deploy this clustering model as the expected outcome of your research. So this is for all about clustering. And if you have any question, query, you may ask, please. No question? Okay, thank you very much. I am done. Tiwari? Okay, Samir, thank you very much, sir. The important is that you attended the session. Okay, Pooja ma'am, thank you very much. And I am requesting all of you kindly practice it, explain to your students, and they will able to generate good results. Thank you, Shekhar. Thank you, Rashmi. हाँ, ये उषा रानी मैम.
Open చేయండి. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. Please wait for 1 minute, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It's a elaborative, hands-on, nice session, sir. Everyone was enjoyed, including me. We did today. You are able to do. You are able to make us to do the experiments, sir. Earlier, we used to do with same Jupyter notebook, Keras and TensorFlow environment. We worked with that. But it is much easier. Only defect I found here is we can handle only one feature at a time. Is it right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I right?
No. You can run the complete notebook by going tool and runtime and run all. It will
One
run.
at a time. We have to take one at a time.
No.
By analyzing the one feature at a time.
No. No, you can also. You're talking about multiple features.
Yeah.
No, you can try now. I just told you like in my regression part
Okay.
to apply. Just wait. Yes, let's suppose you want to apply outlier removal and normalization simultaneously. Okay, so just pass the parameter for the outlier and also for the normalization. Similarly, let's suppose for the 2.7 part, if you want to apply normalization, outlier removal and transformation simultaneously, so you can just pass the parameter. It will perform pre-processing and then compare the models.
This is okay, sir. This is okay. Whatever operation we want to see, that's okay. How many number of features we can handle at a time, sir? Suppose in a cancer database, I want to take the SpyQs. I want to take the Texer. Shall I handle all the features at a time?
Yes, ma'am. You can handle all the features, but all the features should be available in the form of metrics only. Because if you're working in image processing, try to convert the metrics form into text into numeric data only. It will not directly work on your images part. As you build your CNN, RNN, and you apply Keras.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now, any questions from the participants? So no one was responding, sir. We will break the session for lunch. Before closing the session, now I would like to convey my thanks, sir. Please, we are giving as a token of gratitude, we are awarding a small digital award, sir. Please accept, sir.
Oh, accepted, ma'am. Thank you very much.
And we want to thank you in all the way in the form of thank note, sir. Please accept our thank note also, sir.
Ma'am, accepted, ma'am. Thank you much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, session was closed for the lunch. Again, we will meet at 2:30.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
2 o'clock, sir. 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Okay, ma'am. Fine.
2 o'clock. Now it is 1 only, 2 o'clock, sir.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Okay.
Let's join at 2 o'clock. Okay, ma'am.
All the participants can rejoin at 2 p.m. Thank you.